Thanks for agreeing to set up this interview. As you know, we only have a short amount of time, so let's go ahead and get started right away. Now, I know that you've been involved in some work on community issues. Can you tell me what attracted you to the community issue that you chose at the beginning of the semester?
The first community issue I chose in this class was the use of performance-enhancing drugs in steroid use in professional sports. I was drawn to this topic a lot because I am a very big fan and I have a strong interest in all sports, so it's something I want to continue to watch without having to be bothered by the use and suspension of the use of these drugs. Overall, I'd just like to see a world where we can watch sports without these doped up monster super athletes running around the field or court. I would rather have a world where I can watch sports that have a strict ban on these performance enhancing drugs. That way you and I, the audience, can enjoy a fair competition.
Okay, thank you. Now, your materials also said that you were involved in a community issue team project that focused on a call to action. Can you share with me what call to action your team put forward and why you chose that call to action?
My persuasive group chose the Dakota Access Pipeline and oil fracking as our persuasive topic. We discussed the effects of the Dakota Access Pipeline being built and how oil fracking has affected the environment and the atmosphere, as well as the people living in western North Dakota. Another thing we discussed was the way people can help protest this action without necessarily going out into the field and picket fencing. We discussed like they can shut off running water if they see it, and maybe now that it's in the colder months, not have their car running all the time when they're warming up the car. That way the carbon monoxide doesn't go into the atmosphere and harm it. Our call to action was just that. It's ways to save the environment. We encourage them to do all these things so that in the long run our atmosphere and environment can stay healthy and safe.
I see. Now, if I were to ask the other members of your team what they think your biggest strength is, what do you think they would say, and why do you think they would say it?
I think that my other group members would say that my strongest attribute was that I can put a lot of factual information together and get a lot of good research. I say this because I will admit my speaking skills in front of people aren't the best, but I make up for that in my research and all the information I provide in my speeches.
Okay, great. What for you was the most challenging thing about working with your team?
I think the most challenging thing about working with my team was that I was always afraid I was letting them down and I would be result in a bad grade. For example, I wouldn't have as much information as they did, and I would look like a fool in front of the audience where I would only speak for like a minute, where they would make up for the other 7 to 8 minutes. Another thing I was challenged by that really affected me was that we had to fit all of our information together that we had done research on like a puzzle, so when we spoke it would be nice and smooth and easy to understand, where it wasn't choppy and hard to follow.
Thank you. Okay, last question. In 30 seconds or so, tell me what your biggest takeaway was from COMM 110 this semester. What will stick with you and be useful to you?
While I was taking COMM 110, I found that when I spoke in front of audiences, I swayed back and forth while I shifted my weight from my one foot to the other. However, by the end of the class, I fixed this problem. So I think that the one thing I'll take away from this class is that I have more confidence in myself speaking in front of crowds where I didn't have that before. So in conclusion, I'd like to say that the most useful thing I learned in this class was that I have more confidence in myself as a speaker, and I'll definitely use that in the near future.
Alright, well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. We'll probably be in touch with you in the next few weeks or so. Take care.
Thank you.